if you look at the fiscal stimulus hopes around the president and the hopes full stop, the animal spirits, so to speak, are they organic because the consumer has finished deleveraging, there is some natural optimism emerging, or are they all tied to hopes of things that may come from DC?
Well, I can't speak authoritatively. This is guessing human psychology. So I think that, but my guess is that the Trump effect is really important. We're now back to full employment. For a while, we were playing catch up. You know, people had postponed purchasing. Maybe that's still a factor. So the ordinary aggregate demand is maybe still in the process of coming back. But Trump, you know, he dominates our attention everywhere in the world. There's a Trump effect all over the world. And I think it should be stimulative in a psychological sense, beyond whatever is done with tax rates.
So, Professor, put those two things together for us, if you will. On the one hand, your CAPE ratio, which looks really at earnings over a 10-year period of time. It's a longer-term horizon. And on the one hand, with Trump on the other, because that is a one-off. We haven't seen that recently. That's not a long-term effect. How do those two things square up when you come up with your 3 to 4% increase in the S&P?
Well, that was more of a scenario than a forecast. I think it's exceptionally uncertain. Usually we can't forecast the stock market in the short run. I prefer long-run forecasting, like forecasting out 10 years. You can actually do that better than short-run forecasting. So with a CAPE ratio at 29, which is very high, it's not quite as high as it was in 1929, but it's getting close. So that's a bad sign. But on the other hand, you know, the stock market has historically done so well so many times. It seems to me this could be like 1997 again, when the CAPE ratio was also around 29. And, you know, if you held on for 10 years, that brings you to 2007. And you did just fine. That's the uncertainty about the stock market. It has historically often done well when it shouldn't be. Given that, I think with just the CAPE ratio, it doesn't look promising. It looks kind of like the stock market and the bond market are on par. I mean, they're equally high expected returns if you just look at the CAPE ratio.
But another difference, for example, from 1997 is we didn't have the promise or the hope of an entirely new approach to fiscal stimulus that we do now. What is the danger of a disappointment if these things don't come to pass?
Well, it'll be a declining stock market. I think that it's not just the fiscal stimulus that we have to worry. It's the whole package of Trump. And we've seen how much anxiety there has been generated in the first month of his presidency. It's really an uncertain time. The stock market could do very well, actually. It could, you know, it could go up 10, 20, 30% if Trump does things well and if it works out. It's just very uncertain time.
Professor, that was a lot of ifs for a 10, 20% rise for the S&P.
Well, I'm talking about over 10 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
But let's reverse it. So you see 4% upside, right? When is the time to bail out of the market? What happens after that 4%? What's going to be the negative to drag the market down, and what does that look like?
I don't know. This is called market timing. And in the short run, it's very difficult to see when to bail out. So my advice now for typical investor would be to stay partly in the market, but not to go overboard, and then wait and see. There is no clear. I mean, if there's anything assigned to bail out, it would be the high CAPE ratio. To me, that just gives me caution. Don't go overboard. Don't assume that Trump is going to work miracles.